Signmaker module is made up of 3 different parts. So first of all, Signmaker is found on the Tools tab. So this is a separate module of iGEM. So if you haven't purchased this module, it won't show up here. But if you have purchased it, this is where you'd find it. So there's font tracer, image, and image tracer. So first we'll take a look at font tracer. Click on that. And then this dialog box will show up here. So on the left, you've got a listing of all the different fonts that are currently loaded on your Windows system. So these are all your Windows-based fonts. If there's another font that you want to use, you just need to download that into your Windows Fonts subdirectory. So if we go down, for example, I've got a stencil font here that works pretty well with Waterjet cutting. So you can click on your font. It'll show you a preview down here when you click on it. And then you can choose things like bold and italics and such. And then up here, right-hand corner, you have a few different options that you can choose from. So linear cursor, whatever text that you type will go in a straight line. Object cursor, you can follow an object. And then the height of the text. And then symbols, you can choose different symbols to put in there. And then, of course, close. So first of all, if we're going to do a linear cursor, and we've got a height. So if you want to change the height of your text, a couple options. You can click on this button, and down at the bottom, it'll be prompting for specify height. So if you have something that you want to pick off of to specify the height, you can do that. So for example, if I've got, let me just close this for a moment here. And let me just draw my rectangle here for my sign. We'll make it 4 by 12 here. Whoops, other way around. We'll make it 12 by 4. 12 by 4, for example. And maybe I want to draw a couple lines in here as reference lines for the height of my text. So I'll just do this here. So I don't know what the distance is between these lines, just kind of randomly drew them in there. But we'll go back to Tools, Font Tracer, and then click on the height button here and specify height. Then I can do endpoint of here to endpoint of here, and then that's what it's going to use for the height of the text. And then my other option for the height, when I click on the height button, is rather than picking points like I just did, you can just type in a number. So I can type in whatever, and the little dialog box opens up there, and click on OK. And now that's the height of my text. And then click on linear cursor, telling it that we're going to go in a straight line. Place cursor so I can put it at the end of this line if that's where I want to start from. And then we can just start typing. So, and then if I want to do another line, I can just keep on going. And then when you're done, hit enter a couple times. And if that's all that you want, you can just click on close. And then to actually be able to process this, do anything with these, you have to explode this. So let's see, I'm just going to get rid of this since I made that too small. So we'll get rid of that. So back on our CAD tab here, we can use the explode command. We can draw a box around this. And then I'm just going to draw another rectangle around here for the outside of my sign. So at this point, it becomes like creating any other part in iGEMs. So you would just go to your CAM tab, select your machine material, create part, and select it, and go on from there. So that would be with using the linear cursor. The other option under there was the object cursor. So with that, you can follow something. So if I want to follow a circle, or if I want to do something fancy with a spline, let's do something like this. So we go back to Tools, back into Font Tracer, and we'll stick with the same heights. Use the object cursor. So down here at the bottom, it's prompting to pick object. So you can click on the object you want to follow. And then it's prompting to place cursor, so it wants to know which side of the object that you want to put the text on. So if we want it on the top side here, I just have my mouse this side of the line, and I left click, and then I can start typing. So it just follows that. And we'll hit escape and close. So then, depending on the angle of things that we're following, you might get situations like that where it might get a little bit too close, and then you'll just manually have to space that how you want it. But that's the basic idea of how the object cursor works. And then again, you would just go back to your CAD tab and do your explode, and then you can manipulate those further as you need. So that's essentially the font tracer portion of it. So linear cursor, oops, here we go. Linear cursor, object cursor, height, and symbols. So that covers that. So we'll jump over here to image tracer. I'll just delete what I've got here for right now. So image tracer allows you to bring in graphics, JPEGs, bitmaps, PNG files. So if you click on open, I've got some different examples here. So this is a JPEG. If you click down here, bottom right-hand corner, you can see the different formats that you can take in through the image tracer. So this is a JPEG, so you can click on that. And then in this preview window here, you have this little slider up here for thresholds. So if you got an image where there's other bits of data that are coming through, you can use this threshold slider to lighten things up, darken things up, and try to bring out exactly what you want. So this image is pretty clean, so we can pretty much just leave this here. We'll leave it at the 50%. You can invert to choose which way you want to try to get your image. Center line, if it basically sees a gap, it'll put a line down the center line. Smoothing, will usually want to have that turned on, so we'll try to smooth out edges. And then click on OK. So this image is pretty clean, so it'd be pretty minimal cleanup required on this one. Like if you want to smooth out this area in here on the Tools tab under the CAM tools, you have things like Cleanup and Edge Fix. So with Edge Fix, you can click a couple points to smooth things out. So if we want to make that more of a radius there, we can click a couple points on each side there and basically bring in a curve or whatever you want to do there. So if we do something like that, then maybe that'll make that look a little bit smoother. So if you want to do something similar up here, you could do that. So you can use that to clean things up. And if we go back to image tracer and grab something that's not quite so clean, let's see, we'll try this one here. So this one here might have been scanned on a flatbed scanner or something like that, and you can see it's not particularly sharp as far as where the edges are. So this is where this threshold slider can be helpful. So as you slide this, then you can basically darken it up to make the edges more distinct. You don't want to go too far, or else they'll start blending out edges the other way. So if I go the other extreme, then you can see how it's basically making the part bigger as it sees more data points. So if you do something like this, you can try that. You could also, again, go with the invert and see if that helps any. But I think that'll be all right. And we'll click on OK, and it'll bring it in here. And then you'd have this residual stuff up here that you just need to delete. And then you've got this down here you can delete. And with either any of these images, you'd want to scale these down to the appropriate size. So you'd hopefully have some sort of reference point in these to make them the appropriate size. So, for example, say these holes are supposed to be 1/2 inch diameter. If I measure these, try to measure these right now, just eyeball it here and click somewhere over here, and somewhere over here. See that this is about 1.18 inch diameter right now, so we'd need to scale this down first. So I can go up to my CAD tools, transform, scale, or just press S on the keyboard and select that and hit enter. Base point, we'll just hit enter. And then for the options down here, X, Y, R, U, B, I'm going to do R for reference. And then to specify distance, I can go to one of these circles again and basically click 2 points. So again, if from here to over here is supposed to be ½ inch, I click those 2 points that represents that diameter, and I can just type in 0.5 for ½ inch, and everything will be scaled down proportionately. So then if I measure across here, it should be approximately ½ inch. Now, since these aren't perfectly round circles, then the other ones might be off a bit, but basically it's about ½ inch. And then to make those to be nice round circles, on our CAD tab, we can use our circle command, and I'll just draw a circle in here somewhere with a ½ inch diameter. And then back on the Tools tab, use this Replace command. So for this one here, click on Replace, and then down at the bottom, it says Specify Source Object. So you want to click on what you want those items to look like. This is our source object here that I just drew. And then specify target objects. You can just go around and select all the ones that you want to replace with that new circle that we drew here. So just go around and select all those. So then we hit enter, and then those will be nice round circles. And similar to what we did on the other one, we can use the edge fix to smooth out some of these arcs and lines in here. So you can click a couple points and then just drag a arc out here to replace that, and click and do something for the outside. So the cleaner the image is, the less work you have to do. Obviously the dirtier it is, the more work you're going to have to do. So let's see. We'll go back a little bit closer here. So it's a beautiful looking arc right there. So then we can click a point and put a straight line in there. So it just becomes a matter of how much time that you want to spend cleaning this up. So that's the image tracer, and then the other option here is image. So if you've got something like a picture like this that isn't necessarily black and white and isn't going to work very well through the image tracer, then with the image option, you can basically then just manually draw around something. So we'll pick one of these here and put this in here. So then what you could do is I can go up to the CAD tab here, and I can just use my various CAD commands and draw around here. So I can do some lines, and do a line from somewhere around here over to here. And then you can do some arcs. So we can do some start on end arcs on here, so you can obviously zoom in and draw some arcs in here. Start on, and we'll do end, and we'll do another arc down here. And then when I have some points like that, then I'll be able to just use the line command and connect things. So I'll do another one up here. from the endpoint of there, go to there, and go to the endpoint of there. And I can do another arc down here, starting at the endpoint of here, and there, and ending there. So, and we can do some lines from endpoint to endpoint, line from endpoint to endpoint, another line from endpoint, line from endpoint, and then another trick you could do is under the draw menu, you've also got this sketch command, which is essentially like a pencil. So you can click on this and sketch starting from endpoint of here, for example, and then you just hold your left mouse button down, and as long as you hold the left mouse button down, it's just going to draw this little line there. It's not going to be the smoothest little line, but you could use go back and use the edge fix command afterwards to clean this up a bit. And then when you get towards the end here, you can't snap when you get to the end. You just have to kind of get close and let go. And then you might have to do a little line to close that up or clean that up, so you can then do a line from endpoint to endpoint. And then once you've got that, if you join this together with the other lines, so we'd have to go on our CAD tab, use the join command, select objects. I'm just going to select all that to join that all together. And then I can go back to my Tools tab, and I can use Edge Fix and go from whatever here to here, whatever, and then clean things up a bit again. So let's see, go from here to here. Again, with all these, it's just a matter of how much time that you want to spend going through here and making it look pretty. So that's the image option. If you have any questions on any of that, let me know.